Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Fun Show here at Big TV. Michael is playing the white keys and the black keys and attempting to find a tune on the Kira keyboard. I didn't actually see our. Did you watch our A-roll?
Yes.
Our promotions?
Yes.
Was your name on it?
Yes.
Ah, really?
Congratulations. We fought for you.
We finally caught up. We've finally gotten Susan Harrington on our A-roll. We're happy, and we thank you, Josh.
Thanks.
It's very good.
Thanks,
Michael
Josh.
Sallin behind the keyboard. I'm Arch O'Reilly. This is the November 19th edition of the Fun Show.
And we hope you all voted.
And this is our first appearance since the election. And the turnout was good. It was good here. It was good across the country. And initially, I was not that excited about the country's response.
Not in Florida, anyway.
And on the other hand, the current occupant of the White House was ecstatic. He somehow thought he'd won.
Yes, he did. He really
But I think there's still a race or two out there that are still undecided.
Yes.
But at the present time, the good guys have gained 37 seats
more
in Congress.
Yeah.
And this is the greatest since Watergate.
Wow.
So it's very impressive. And a number of people who have historical friendly relations with DJ Trump are very convinced that after a few months of dealing with a Democratic Congress, Trump will in fact resign. Because without absolute dictatorial control, he'll just get totally frustrated.
He's very much in favor of that woman from California to be the next speaker.
You mean Nancy?
Nancy Pelosi?
Yes.
Well, if Trump's in favor, I'm opposed.
Yeah.
He thinks he can pull the wool over her eyes, he thinks.
No, he just knows that she's almost as unpopular as he is. So that...
She's much better than that. I would never say that. That's an insult, don't you think?
No, it's a fact.
That
She is at least in the Republicans' vision or their study of it, Nancy Pelosi is the most unpopular. They all ran against Nancy Pelosi the whole
talking
campaign.
about the Republicans.
Yeah, and
yeah.
they thought she was a better target than even Hillary or even Bernie. So you've got to say she's the most unpopular Democrat in the country.
But they never say why or what she did.
Why? They don't know the question, much less the answer.
Now you got
she is.
Anyway, I was personally very happy with the results in Massachusetts.
I like Nancy. Okay.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Fine. All you have to do is get yourself elected as a Democratic congressman, and you can do something about it.
Springfield and wherever it is, wherever Moulton is sitting around shooting craps on a table or something.
Moulton?
Yeah,
So
the congressman from Massachusetts.
Why are you attacking Moulton?
He hates her. He's against her, he said.
Okay. All right. Well, 16 Democratic congressmen signed a letter opposing her election today. So you can make a list.
There's 435 members of the House of Representatives.
Right, and we have about what?
200 something.
Well, we may have close to 300. No.
Yes. Okay.
We have a 37 gain. We were down. Anyway.
Okay.
You're right. There are at least several hundred Democrats who will eventually vote, and most of them will, not tilt at will. Mills won't take any chances, and they'll probably elect.
Well, at least she isn't Jewish.
Nancy Pelosi. But it was a good election in Massachusetts. We kept Charlie Baker. That was good. We elected no other Republicans, unless you count the lieutenant governor. It's so hard to.
Oh, you mean
what is her name?
Karen Polito?
Polito, I think that's it.
Polito.
That's how important she is. And
Yeah.
He got a big raise, the House, the state legislature gave themselves all a big raise. Big money.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think he's going to get about 285,000 finally.
You mean the governor?
The governor, she's getting about 170.
Well, that is stealing money. I mean, lieutenant governor should get lunch money.
Yeah.
Well, she follows him around with one of those brooms
And a bus
things,
pass.
you know,
I
to
think a
clean
bus
up
pass or
stuff.
Bus pass.
Yeah.
Lunch money and
And
a
a bus
bus pass.
pass.
You are so generous. We can tell the former teacher coming out here on things. Well, all right. So the election
schools were burned down.
The election was good, and the election gets better all the time. And I mean, we made a real squeaker out of it in Florida and Georgia. I think Stacey Abrams will keep fighting in Georgia for a while.
And Gillum too.
We got
He's
rid
good.
of some really bad people. Walker's gone, and a bunch
said
of
it.
people. The guy who filed the bill to appeal Obamacare is no longer in Congress, and
That's
and,
good news.
things are good, but it's a start, right? It's a
Yeah, and
start.
I want them to do things that have some substance.
Yeah.
You do too.
But
We want them to get busy and stop taking
so this
pot
weekend
shots.
we had an interesting experience, which was the Harvard-Yale game at Fenway Park. Susan's impressed.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It was the first time that the
Could've been.
Harvard-Yale game was played.
Which is referred to as the game.
The game.
Nah.
It's the first time the game was played at a neutral site since 1896 or something like that. And that one was called the something bloodbath. And in those days, that was literally true.
You said the hot dogs were 9 something.
Huh?
You said the hot dogs were $9 something.
It's amazing. I mean, I've stayed out of Fenway Park just because of the ticket price, but I go over there. A hot dog's like $9. A soda's $5.50. Beer is anywhere from $11.75 to $13.
That'll
a
make you a
can.
teetotaler.
Yeah, and they have this wonderful New England offering that shows how refined the cuisine at Fenway Park is.
And clean too.
Actually, they were also going through selling cups of clam chowder.
Oh.
And a paper cup of clam chowder was only $9.
Oh, and a lobster.
But you could get a lobster roll for the very affordable and attractive price of $23.
That's-
Well, you know, and so in a way that kind of makes sense. If you've sprung all this money to get into Fenway Park,
Right.
you're not going to be able to see anything else.
No.
So if you want to have a lobster roll, you can't really go to a restaurant or go somewhere else. So it's like a twofer. I was at Fenway Park and I got my lobster.
Well, and they also have the thing, and I don't know when this started, it was quite a while ago, but they have the thing now, there's no pass out. In other words, if you
Want to leave?
go into the park
Yeah.
and they scan your ticket, no, they don't stamp you or anything
No
like
more.
that. They scan your ticket, and then you can't leave and come back. You know, even if you had an emergency or
Yeah.
something. And
You
the
can't,
point,
even in an emergency,
Nope.
you can't leave?
well, you can't come
you
back.
could leave, but you can't come back in.
Can't come
Right.
back in?
So obviously you can't go out and get a cheaper hot dog on the street or something like that.
Sausage.
But
A sausage sandwich.
fortunately, I had a very good time at the game and didn't buy anything from them. So,
Yeah, but you got a good feed out of it, though.
yeah, that was a different thing.
That was a different thing. All right, he bought 20 shares.
All I had
stock.
to do was dangle the possibility of a $600,000 investment in front of a guy with a venture capital firm who was looking for business. So
That's good.
that
That was
worked
good.
all
I'm
right.
glad to hear that story.
And then we have the interesting story of Ilhan Omar, a newly elected woman, Muslim, actually Somali born,
Okay.
meaning she won't be, unfortunately, eligible to be president.
No.
But
So far.
newly elected member of
change
Congress.
the law, too, if they can let her wear one of those outfits. They
Oh yeah, the same thing. Right.
Yeah.
Right. the concept of changing the rules of dress in the House and changing the fundamental Constitution of the United States. Same thing. Who are you, Donald Trump?
She could have, what, is she going to use one of those prayer rugs when she goes to Congress? Is she going to do that?
I'm not sure which way Mecca is, but
There you are.
I doubt it.
All right.
And I won't fight for her right to
it's
do
east,
that
in case you don't
because I
know.
don't want Oral Roberts holding services on the floor of the House either. But in any case, the Democrats, with one of the people who filed it was Congressman McGovern, they're going to change the 187-year-old rules in the House so that you can have religious head coverings on the floor of the House. Apparently, there's a rule that you can't wear a hat, and it's been around for a very long time. Our congressman who got beaten down with a cane might have been in better shape if he'd had a top hat on.
Is the flag okay? Is that safe?
It's not. You don't wear it on your head. I hope not.
Do you wear your flag on your head?
No, she might want to have it on by her chair or whatever she's sitting on.
This is
there.
just talking about
What
head.
in the world are you talking about?
I'm talking about that woman who's going to Congress, who's a Muslim.
Yeah, but she's not wearing the flag on her head.
No, but
They're
she
talking about wearing
but
a
no,
hat.
but all those people coming up here in the big crowds, they were carrying flags.
They're carrying them. They're not wearing them.
Well, who knows?
She's not a Central American refugee.
Well, she's from the Far East.
She's not
Middle
even
East.
Hispanic.
Oh,
And she's not from the Middle East either. Her
she
family
could
came
be a
from
linguist. You don't know.
Her family came from Somalia. Do you have any idea where Somalia is?
Yes, and they shot down some of our planes in there, I think, at one point.
Oh my God.
No?
In any case, they filed an interesting bill smartly because it specifies religious head coverings, and this will then keep the Republicans by retaliating by all showing up with MAGA hats
Yeah.
on. And talking about interesting head coverings, there was one guy sitting near me during the Harvard-Yale game. He was a Sikh,
Yeah.
and he had on a crimson turban with a H on it.
I would have
I love
applauded
seeing
him.
that.
I would have
Wow.
gone down and thanked him for that.
So
Boy,
that, I thought that was cool. You know,
it is cool.
Get in there, brother.
How much does one of those cost? I'd like to run over there and get one.
I don't know.
That should be on
have
sale at
to-
the Harvard store,
You
shouldn't
have
it?
to. You have to.
To give them a chance. If
Yeah.
there's a way to make a buck,
Suggest
the
it.
coop will.
Yeah, the varsity club will
They
be
go,
selling them. But it takes a long time to learn to wrap one of
You're
those.
right. Well, he has
know?
all that. He has long hair under that hat. That's what's
That's the
big
whole
thing.
idea. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Sikhs, as I understand it, don't cut their hair.
no, that's.
So
They could wrap that around their heads and without the.
well,
other
they do,
thing.
and then they put the turban on it.
Yeah, it's a big thing, boy. Well, what else you got?
So we've talked about Nancy Pelosi, and Donnie is on a real kick now. I mean, he's sort of forgotten about the great invasion from the South. You talk about it more than he does
yes,
now.
that's right.
And the commander of the troops he sent down there is bitterly complaining that his troops have nothing to do. They have no mission. They have nothing to do. The only stuff they're legally allowed to do, they've already finished. And why are my guys down here missing Thanksgiving with their families on the thing? He'll probably be demoted.
He will
Yeah.
be.
After
Yeah,
that.
they'll give him one of those paint guns, and he could shoot paintballs at all those people, the migrants.
But in any case, what Donnie's on a tear doing now is thinking of things to cut out. You know, as you say, show him with the Constitution and a pair of. Oh, that was your
Yeah.
line.
Pair of scissors.
What was that?
It was a something on Facebook. It was a cartoon that showed him with a pair of scissors and the Constitution in his hand. It said, "Which part of this did Obama write?"
But his statement that he believed that he could unilaterally amend the Constitution of the United States just with a stroke of his pen is as chillingly fascist as anything that has ever been said. But now he wants to cut everything. His response to these Central American refugees was to want to cut foreign aid to what was it, El Salvador and Honduras and Guatemala.
Okay.
And it turns out that the entire amount of foreign aid we give to those three countries is $500,000.
Well, it's a lot of money.
Which is more than his wife spends to go to Canada for 12 hours, for a day.
Yeah.
Or half a day.
No, but if she took 2 trips, it would be it would be the same.
Michelle, and look at the nice book she turned out. Yeah.
So his response is cut aid to them.
Yeah.
You know, which is illogical given that they're fleeing poverty. And then there's big forest fires in California, and his first response is, no more forest management money.
Poor management
for them.
Right.
Poor forest management caused the fire, in spite of the fact that 80% of the burned area is federal land.
Yeah.
And now he says they never have forest fires in Finland because they rake the forest. And the president of Finland went, I didn't say that.
Well, he does now. He could.
Here's the irony.
Yes.
I was viewing the forest management, the official forest management policy of Finland.
Right.
And almost half of it is concerned with the effects of global warming and what they have to do to counter global warming.
And the Russians.
I'm waiting for Donnie to quote that, right? And now he wants to say, enough already with Puerto Rico, no more aid for Puerto Rico.
You know, the Finns like fish.
Wow.
They eat a lot of fish. And the president eats hamburgers and meatballs and stuff.
It's one of our only hopes.
Chicken.
His diet is so bad that maybe he'll croak
thicken
soon.
Thicken up those arteries. But can you believe Jerry Brown is 80 years old?
80.
Really? Yes.
Jerry Brown.
Old.
I can't believe, when I saw him, I said, oh my gosh.
Remember when he was the young dog?
Yeah.
He did all right. Okay, so let's see if we can get through.
All right,
like
ladies and gentlemen, tonight's presentation from the Big TV Unrehearsed Thespian Society is entitled Stalemate. And it is truly unrehearsed because Michael wouldn't let us read it before this very moment. So what you are going to see is our best attempt at an absolutely cold reading.
And if you want to add any lines to this, you can. This is your chance.
Okay, well, I do it all the time anyway.
Okay. You know? Shall we stay or go?
But we just got here.
He means Iraq.
It's our 5th year.
Veep says, stay the course or choose to lose.
And General Petraeus was badgered by Congress.
He doesn't know fragile situation.
Cheney was in Jerusalem.
This week, Carter is visiting Hamas in Gaza.
Not popular in Israel.
Iraq's troops and police are doing poorly.
You were expecting enthusiasm?
Touch and go.
Terrorists touch, Iraqis go.
Democrats want a timetable for withdrawal.
Bush, Petraeus, and McCain don't know that word.
Well, the outlook's very gloomy.
Which is a synonym for depressing.
And then there's Maliki.
And his friends in the parliament.
But what do they do with their time?
Make a lot of money.
We give them business. Bundles.
Bundles. And there's oil money.
Yeah. What happens to that?
Shiites, Sunnis, Kurds.
The Sunnis. People know all this.
It's called corruption.
Yep. Everyone's aware of it.
But it's on the back burner like partition.
I thought the surge was working.
The president was very confident of success.
Someone misspoke?
Well, I'm more optimistic.
Well, you're not cynical.
Certainly not bitter.
Of course, if I was an Iraqi refugee.
Sure, that's quite different.
No schools, no home, no job.
I might want to move too.
Nothing is exactly what it seems.
Money dipped in oil is slippery.
I get your meaning.
Yep, even if we deplore it.
Is this what Obama had in mind?
Wise guy.
Small town America is having it tough.
We're in a recession, or we were.
Just an economic downturn.
Free market forces will solve it all.
Some folks get burned.
Then things get better.
It's okay to help an investment banker, 3.
Federal Reserve has something to do with that.
Can't let the systems falter.
Maybe if we could just end the war?
Voting majorities against it.
George isn't swayed.
His White House occupancy is coming to an end, you know.
Yeah, will he buy or rent?
Bet his mother knows.
There's always the Texas Ranch.
Oh, Crawford.
Plenty of bicycling space.
Will he write a book?
Can he write?
Probably with some help.
And the title? Mission Accomplished?
That's a winner.
Money for his presidential library.
Has he picked a site?
Yeah, a donated one.
On the Gulf, I suppose.
He does like fishing.
Can jot down memories while waiting for a bite.
He has a memory? Well, from Karl Rose memoirs, I guess.
Harriet Myers and Alberto Gonzalez for legal stuff.
That sounds refreshing these days. General Powell and Condi Rice are on international relations.
Brownie could do the chapter on Katrina and New Orleans.
Yep, FEMA's 5,000 empty trailers in Arkansas.
Plenty of exciting parts.
Gonna be a real thriller.
And the sequel could be on Iraq.
Well, I'm hooked.
Shock and awe, IEDs.
And maybe we could say something about Walter Reed Army Hospital.
About the disabled vets.
Could use the Abu Ghraib photos.
The Muslim terrorists can change, you know.
Democracy in Iraq.
Don't forget those suicide bombers.
And the religious civil war.
Lots to reminisce about.
Could be a runaway bestseller.
The Olympics will be over by then.
Yeah, just like human rights and Tibetan nonviolence.
Bush's agent can negotiate a bigger number.
Well, perhaps a play or a musical.
I can see the film now. The Man from Crawford.
Sounds like a Western.
Why not?
They could all have cameos in it.
I want the DVD.
George will cash in.
And then he'll buy a new bicycle.
And his own fishing boat.
Then Menino can make a killing too.
He can delegate some of the work.
Lots of worthwhile experiences.
He's a bit of a character, though.
What you hear is what you get.
I think he's a natural.
One of a kind.
An old-style politician.
Real folksy.
I think they're both great on the banquet circuit.
Must be used to a lot of rubber chicken dinners.
Too bad. They always give speeches.
Yeah, that does ruin it.
Yeah, a song or a poem would be nice once in a while.
Well, they both deliver punchlines well.
Yeah.
It takes a good staff and practice.
And an understanding wife.
Well, I like Laura.
So do I.
Mrs. Patrick and Menino would do well.
Haven't heard about much from
Mrs. McCain, though.
Right.
She's nice.
But I like. Remember Mrs. Edwards?
Yeah, I like her too. I'm glad I don't have to campaign.
You take it.
It's so easy to say the wrong thing.
Oh.
They all do a pretty good job. So, when we start reading our own lines, are you going to start your own book?
Yes. I'll leave them be, and you too.
I'm content.
You don't want to be president.
I don't either.
Just want to be able to pay my bills.
An honest person.
Well, will he send back a $600 check from our government?
Now that's none of your darn business.
Blackout. Well, we had some fun.
Well, that's what happens when you do a cold read.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily read your own lines.
And nobody knows.
If you see one you like, you read it.
Yeah, now you're talking. All right, now we're getting somewhere.
Just grab whatever line appeals to you and go to it. Do you see that the White House is now saying that, well, the judge, I thought it was interesting that a Trump-appointed judge told them they had to return Acosta's press pass.
Acosta's
You know, the guy from CNN?
Okay, yeah.
The judge who said, no, immediately restore his credentials.
But what about Brennan?
Was a Trump appointee.
Yeah, but what about Brennan?
What about Brennan?
They won't let him reminisce the way he wants to about all those bad things that the president is doing.
Well, would you explain, sir? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, well, it's not the first time. But when you're ahead, you keep on, you know, you stay positive, okay.
In any case, can I finish my story now?
Well, you go, but I have a better story
White
about
House
the
is-
school kids going to school in an electric bus.
Which I think is great. The White House has now announced that the judge's opinion was only a 15-day stay, and at the end of the 15 days, they're going to cancel his press credentials again. I think it's fascinating to have electric buses.
Yeah.
They cost about 3 times as much as diesel. I assume
But they can't cancel them. They can't cancel them out like a card for a newsman. That's what you were talking about.
We segued to your buses, Michael.
Oh, I see. All right.
Well, what do you think about the little girl running around trying to grab the microphone?
I think
That
she
poor-
got a bad intern's job.
Yeah. That thing's going to live with her for the rest of her life.
And it was either Susan Hucka Sanders or it was Kellyanne Conway who tried to defend their doctored tape by saying, well, they just sped it up just like they do on football replays. Hello, they slow down replays. They don't speed them up. I mean, Mr. Kellyanne Conway, as the president insists on
Yes,
referring to him,
I heard
George
him.
Conway.
And I saw him, too.
He has
God
now
bless him.
started. Well, he wrote an op-ed in Washington Post saying that the president, can't change the Constitution. Duh. He wrote another one in the New York Times saying that this guy he appointed, his appointment of this guy to be Attorney General is completely unconstitutional. And so Trump attacked him as Mr. Kellyanne Conway. He's now started a new organization because the Heritage Foundation has totally sold out to Trump.
Good.
And was always the leading conservative law organization. Mm-hmm. So George Conway and a bunch of hardcore conservative lawyers have started a new organization to compete with the Heritage Foundation, which is pretty cool. The thing is, there's plenty of signs that they're starting to turn on this guy.
Oh,
Wouldn't it be
you
nice
think
if they-
Mueller's going to release anything now that they have a new attorney general?
You mean while he still has a job?
Yes.
I would think they're probably working as
Fast.
rapidly as they can.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I did read some reports that Jarrett has spent a lot of time cooperating.
Yeah.
Maybe Jared. I don't even remember his name. Do you remember his name?
What if all the people who voted for people who won seats? What if we all went to Washington and made a parade around the White House?
Then he'd say that was for him. What I would like to see is for all of the press, for him to have his weekly press conference or whatever, and no one show up. None of the press to show up. Just leave that fool and that dizzy broad in the red outfit in that room by themselves.
Well,
And just see him, because he wouldn't give him anyone to barb with. That's what he looks for. He looks for someone to argue with, and so he can deflect.
You're an awful person. How presidential is that?
Yeah.
Why can't everybody have a mirror? They come in with a mirror, and they're all, when they're talking to him, asking him questions, they're looking in the mirror.
Well, actually, they could be looking at their phones these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, they could
They
do
probably
that.
are, right?
But the mirror thing
like
is
I have my
something-
question on the phone, right?
Well,
on the
they
thing.
could
I
do
didn't
it.
call on you. I didn't call on
You
you.
think we can get him to laugh at anything? He doesn't laugh ever. Think about it.
He had a real weird smile on his face while he was pardoning the turkey.
Well, it's one turkey to another.
That's right.
So we have 4 seconds to say have a wonderful Thanksgiving,
Have
safe
a wonderful
one.
Thanksgiving.
Yes. Happy bird. We will be back next week. Everybody have a great time. The best wishes of the fun show here at Big TV. You got any? Is that a Thanksgiving song you're
Yeah, a turkey came today
A turkey came
to
today.
stay on Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, I'll leave.
Okay. Well, have a good time, friends.